All right, class, we're going to take a look at section 14.2, which is measures of central tendency. Different ways we can look at data, trying to talk about averages, or here specifically, mean, median, and mode, different ways that we can find averages. And so mean. Mean is the one that you add and divide. So here I'm going to write add and divide. Oops. So you add, and then you divide. Add and divide. So in other words, this symbol right here means sum. So in other words, add, and then you divide by how many numbers you have. So this is the n data values. Okay, so you add them all up, and then you divide by how many you have, and that's the median. We'll try them, so don't worry if you don't follow the formula. Median. Median, you have to have them all in order, so decreasing order, increasing or decreasing order, it doesn't matter. The median is the middle value. Now here, if there's an odd number of values, then the median is actually the middle position. The even one, what you have to do is do the average of the two middle values, or in other words, the mean. Okay, and then finally, computing the mode. The mode is the one that happens the most, so it's the one that happens most frequently. Okay, so let's actually take a look at a data set and work these out. So mean. To do the mean, all you have to do is add these all up and then divide by how many they are. So it doesn't matter what order they're in as far as the mean is concerned, but it does for the median. So we'll have to rearrange them in a moment. But let's go ahead and add these up. So we've got 15 plus 18 plus 15 plus 18 plus 16 plus 17 plus 27 plus 17 plus 35, and finally plus 42. So I typed them all in my calculator. Hopefully I added them correctly, and I got 220. Okay, so if I put plus signs between all of these, it adds up to 220. Okay, then your job is to do that, to sum them, and then divide by how many numbers there are. So sum over by how many numbers there are. It's not the right way to say just numbers, but how many numbers you have. So there we go. How many numbers? That's better. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different numbers. So we're dividing by 10. So here we got 220 divided by 10, and that just gives us 22. Okay. So our average, our mean is 22. So that's our mean. Now to do the median, we have to put them in order. So we've got 15, and then by that I mean ascending order. So the next one would be 15, not 18. And then, so I'm going to cross them off as I use them. 15, 15, and then 16. And then I run to 17. And then there's another 17. And then the next number is 18. And then we have 18 again. And then we have 27, 35, and finally 42. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Now this is an even data set. So what I want to do is go to the middle, and the middle has two numbers in it. Now the way that you could do that is if I've had people say, oh, you cross off the big one, or the small one, and then the big one, and cross off the next small one, cross off the next big one, next small, next big, next small, next big, and then you get to the middle one. But what happens is, most often, is my students go, oh, then you cross off that one. Oh, that's the median. Well, it's actually not. So you got to be careful about what kind of set you have. I've had people use that trick before, which works out great if it's an odd data set, but for even data sets, that method does not work very well. I like to take my fingers, which obviously I can't show you on the screen here, and I put them on the outer two, so I put my fingers here and here, and then slide them into here and here at the same time, and then here to here, then here to here, and then I would have both my fingers on these two right here if I was pointing, so you can imagine those being my fingers. And then that helps me, I believe, get quickly to the middle. Bottom line here is this is even, so our actual median is in the middle of these two numbers. So to find the middle of two numbers is you actually add them, 17 plus 18, and divide by 2, or it's 17.5. So 17.5 is our median. It is the middle of the data set. Okay? And then finally, mode. mode is what number happens the most, and it's nice to look at mode with a on a frequency table, because you actually see the number right there, and you'll see that the highest number would actually be a couple of these. So we've got 2 15s, got 2 17s, 2 18s. So we actually, technically, we don't have one single mode, but we have 3 different modes. So the modes here we would list as being 15, 17, and 18. So there's no single mode, but those are the ones that happen the most. It's 15, 17, and 18. And it is okay to have multiple modes. You just list them. Here we go. So looking at this one, we've got the mode for each set. In this particular case, 5 happens the most, so the mode is 5. Okay. Over here, we've got 3 3s, 2 4s, and 3 9s. So here we've got 3 and 9 are the mode. So 2 different modes. All right. So here's a case where you have just a singular mode, and here's a case where you have multiples, like we just had a moment ago. So the mode is 5 because it happens most frequently, and then 2 modes, you got 3 and 9. There we go. So mean, median, mode from a bar graph, which is one of the problems that you have in your assignments. And now what's really nice here, and this, by the way, I say or frequency table, because this is basically a frequency table turned sideways. We're just saying I've got 4 52s. 4 is what I was trying to write. We've got 6 53s. We've got 3 54s, and we've got 8 55s. So what's nice about this is right away it shows, oh, look how big this bar is. That means that there's 8 of them. It happens the most. So right away, mode is 55. Okay. The median, what's the middle number? Well, this one's a little bit harder to figure out. So we'll come back to that. But the mean is where we want to probably take our time to go next. So the mean, to deal with the mean, you actually have to do a little bit of work. And so our work, which I thought I typed in there, but I guess I didn't, is to actually say, well, I've got 4 52s. So if my job is to add up all the 52s, can I just multiply 4 by 52, and that'll show what that would add up to? And then I'm going to add that up to, I have 6 53s, so instead of adding 53 6 times, I'm going to say I have 6 53s. And then I've got 3 54s, so I'm going to add up all of them together by just multiplying by 3, so 3 times 54. And then 8 55s, so I say plus 8 55s. And then I've got 4 56s, and then I've got 5 57s. So how many numbers do I have in total? Well, that's 4 plus 6, which is 10, plus 3 is 13, plus 8, and then plus another 4, and finally plus another 5. So let's add that up. So we have a total of 30 numbers. So when I type this in my calculator, I'm going to take this whole thing and divide it by 30, and that will give me my mean. Because in each one of these, by multiplying them, I actually figure out what the total would be as if I added each one of them. So let me take a moment here and plug it in my calculator. All right, so barring any mistakes, I ended up getting in my calculator 1,637, which can't fit there, 1,637, and we're going to divide that by 30. So if I divide it by 30, I get my total of 54 point, basically 6, is my mean. So that is my mean. My average is 54.6. Okay? And finally, my median. Well, to figure out the median, we've got to we have them in order. And so we know that there's 30 numbers. So we need to figure out, well, where would the 15th and the 16th number be? Because half of 30 is 15, and basically it would be 15 on one side and then 15 on the other side is what I would have to do with the numbers. And so I want to know, well, what's in the middle, or where is this happening? So what I need to do is say, all right, well, here's 4 plus 6, so this is 10 numbers so far, plus 3. Okay, so now I'm at 13 right here. And then here is where I would have 13, 14. So basically in here there's 14, there's 15, there's 16. So basically the 15th and the 16th numbers are both 55s. So hopefully you're following how I thought through that. So the answer is that the median, the middle number, is 55 because the 15th and the 16th number, as far as them being in order, happen here in this bar. in this column. If I actually wrote out the 452s, the 653s, the 354s, and then all the way to the 55s, my 15th and my 16th number, which I'd have to be in the middle of whatever those numbers were, would be 55 still, because the middle of 55 and 55 is 55 still. So the median is 55. So my mode was 55, my median is 55, and then my average mean is 54.6. All right, so we're going to find the median for the following in this frequency distribution, which is going to be very similar to what I just put in. And so, but first I got to figure out how many numbers I have. I got 2, 4, so it's 6 so far. 3 more is 9. And now I got 16, 17, 18, 19 different numbers. So there's 19 numbers here. Well, 19, to find the middle of that, you would have 9 on each side, and then the 10th number would be your middle. Okay, so basically I have 9 numbers here, then there's one number, which is the 10th number, and then another 9 numbers have a total of 19. Okay, and so we got to figure out where is that happening. Well, 2 and 4 give you 6, so this is 6 numbers, plus another 3, so this is 9. So basically this is where the bottom half of your data is. The top half of your data is over here. Okay, so 7 and 3 gives me 10. So that means my 9th number is actually one of these 95s, and then there's 9 more numbers after that. Okay, so that means my median is 95. Basically, if I wrote them out, I'd have 95, 95, 95, 7 different times, and then I'd have 3 100s after that. So this first 95 is actually the middle number of the whole data set if I listed them all out. So hopefully this makes sense to you as far as what I have to start up counting, figuring out where would my middle number be. It would be the 10th number. So I count up this is the first 9 numbers, and then the next number, which is a 95, is my middle, the 10th number in the set if I listed them out. Okay? That's how you work from the table there. Now, the 5-number summary is our last concept here. The definition of the 5-number summary is your minimum value, the Q1, which stands for quadrant 1, quartile 1, median, the actual middle number, and then quartile 3, and then finally your maximum value of a data set. So it's actually a very easy concept to do if you have your numbers in a list. So here's a very long list of numbers. In fact, we should figure out how many numbers there are. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 numbers. Okay. So our minimum value, this is a very easy concept, is 42. Our maximum value, also a very easy concept, is 69. So there's 2 of the 5 special numbers. Now the next one that you want to look for is the middle number, the median. So just like the last problem, or 2 problems ago, I count off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers. The next one is the 10th number. That's your middle, your median number. Okay. Now your job from there is to figure out what is the median of the lower half and the median of the upper half. That's what quartile 1 and quartile 2 mean. So, to find the median of the lower half of data, all we have to do to find that number is ignore our actual median and just look here on the left side. Now, do include the low number, the minimum, and we try to figure out where is the middle of this set of data. So I got to count up how many numbers. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the middle of 9 needs to have 4 on each side. So we've got 4 numbers here, and the middle number is 51. It's the 5th number, and then there's another 4 numbers on this side. So this is what we call Q1, quartile 1. Basically, it's the lower half of the data. Okay, it's the median of the lower half of the data. It's called the first quartile. Okay, so this is Q1, and then we do the same thing on the right. Okay, so we look over here and say, all right, well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and my middle number is 60. So that is my Q3. Okay, so my 5-number summary is found just by taking 3 medians. Now, it's a little bit different when you have an even data set, but all you would do then is just find the average of each. So in other words, if this was an even data set and say the median was these two numbers, I had to figure out what's in the middle of those. And then 55 would start as my lower side, and I have to work from there. But anyway, it's not, so I can get there. Anyway, so let's erase this. We represent the 5-number summary by a graph called a box and whisker plot. And so here's what that looks like. You basically take your data, this is broken up by 5s, okay? And all you do is you make a bar at your 5 critical places. So our minimum is 42, so you make a bar. Q1 is at 51. Our median is at 54, so if I'm just actually making a bar here like that, okay? And then 60. Put a bar there, and then finally our maximum is 69. So the way that the box and whisker goes is you just put a box around your middle 3, okay, and then you just draw a bar to your maximum and a bar to your minimum, and then they actually shade it in, but it doesn't matter if you actually shade in the actual box itself. But this is a box and whisker plot of your 5-number summary. So whenever you have your 5-number summary, it's just a very quick way to plot it, and in a way that looks, it shows you where a good portion of your data is collected. In fact, the way that this goes is that each one of these groups of data that's broken off by this bar, there's 25% of your data in each one of these. So there's 25% here, 25% here, and finally 25% here. So it's just breaking down the grouping to show where a good portion of data. Notice how tight this, and that is what we do is we analyze and say, look how tight this 25% of the data is, and then this 25% of the data is a little bit further spread out. So it's just, it helps you, it allows you to do some comparisons. So it's all based off of your 5-number summary. You're just plotting the minimum, the first quartile, the median, the third quartile, and then finally your maximum to get the box plot. Okay, and that's it for this section. So ask me any particular questions through the Ask My Instructor feature.